feel like you're trying too hard to sound advanced, but it just ends up sounding awkward?
In our new video, we're fixing the top mistakes sound like a native speaker instantly. Let's go.
Hey, Liam, have you ever noticed how some English phrases sound perfectly fine to learners, but just feel off to a native speaker?
Oh, absolutely. It's usually because the grammar might be correct on paper, but it's not how we actually say it in real life.
Why is that? Is it a vocabulary thing?
Not really. Real conversations rely on natural speech patterns, not complex words. So, when a phrase breaks those patterns, it immediately stands out, even if the meaning is perfectly clear.
Wow, that makes so much sense. We try too hard to sound advanced and end up sounding unnatural.
Exactly. And today, we're fixing the most common ones so you can avoid that trap.
Perfect. If you want to build real confidence, definitely stick around, right?
Oh, for sure. Especially because the last few phrases are mistakes almost everyone makes without even realizing it.
I'm ready to learn because I've definitely had those "did I just say something weird" moments. Let's dive in. What's the first phrase we should drop?
Let's start with a classic. How is called this?
Wait, really? Why does that sound so wrong to you?
Because native speakers just don't structure questions that way. Even though I understand exactly what you mean, it instantly breaks the flow of the conversation.
So even if the message gets across, it still catches a native speaker off guard?
Exactly. It just causes a tiny mental hiccup during the conversation.
Got it. So instead of "how is called this," what's the natural way to ask?
Keep it simple. What is this called? Or, what do you call this?
That sounds so much smoother. What's the next one on the list?
This one is a classic for anyone who speaks a Romance language. I have 25 years.
Oh, I hear that one all the time. Because in languages like Spanish, Portuguese, or French, you literally have your age.
Right. But in English, you are your age. So, to a native speaker, saying, "I have 25 years," sounds like you possess 25 physical years in your pocket.
That's a funny image. So the fix is just,
I'm 25, or I'm 25 years old.
so we're basically making English harder than it needs to be because we're trying too hard to sound advanced?
Pretty much. And that pressure usually creates awkward phrases instead of confident ones. True fluency comes from using familiar automated patterns, not complex grammar.
That is a huge relief to hear. All right, what's another phrase we need to fix?
This next one is a classic translation mistake. Open the TV.
Oh no, guilty as charged. And I bet people say "open the lights" too, right?
Yes, all the time. But to a native speaker, open means physically opening a box or a door. For electronics or electricity, we use phrasal verbs.
Right. So the correct match would be
Turn on the TV and turn on the lights. And for the opposite, just rip it to turn off.
It's crazy how such a tiny word swap completely changes how natural you sound.
It really does. Small phrasal verbs make a massive difference in how fluid your English feels.
Coined. Hit me with the next one.
A lot of learners say, "Can you repeat again?"
Wait, why is "can you repeat again" awkward?
Because it's redundant. The word repeat already means to do something again. So adding again at the end is doing double work.
Ah, so it's completely redundant, like a double negative. So what do native speakers prefer instead?
We keep it punchy. Can you repeat that? Or, could you say that again?
Those definitely roll off the tongue much better.
Right, because fluent English values efficiency. A lot of learners are terrified of sounding too simple, so they overcomplicate their sentences.
That is such a psychological trap. We think complex equals advanced, but it actually just creates unnatural speaking patterns.
Exactly. Confident speakers focus on clear communication, not on trying to impress people with extra words. Once you realize that, it completely changes how you approach speaking English.
It really takes the pressure off. All right, what's the next phrase on your radar?
This one is a major grammar trap. I didn't understood.
Oh, I hear that one all the time. It's so easy to accidentally double down on the past tense.
Absolutely. Because didn't is already doing the heavy lifting for the past tense, the main verb needs to stay in its base form. So it has to be, I didn't understand.
It sounds so much cleaner. Why do you think learners make this mistake so often, even when they know the grammar rule?
Honestly, overthinking. When you get nervous in real-time conversations, your brain panics and tries to force the past tense everywhere.
That makes sense. So it's less about not knowing the rule and more about losing confidence in the moment.
Sure. Anxiety creates hesitation and clunky sentence structures. The trick to fluent communication is learning to relax and not panicking every time you make a tiny slip-up. Very often, yes. Relaxed speaking always beats overthinking.
So true. What's the next phrase we should look out for?
This next one is a double comparison trap. More easier.
Since easier already means more easy, adding more is just overkill.
Exactly. All you need to say is, it's easier.
Simple and clean. It's amazing how fluent English is actually just about stripping away the words you don't need.
Hit the nail on the head. When you stop analyzing every single word, your speech naturally becomes faster and more fluid.
I love that mindset. What's the last awkward phrase for today?
This one is super common at the end of a long week. Thanks God.
Wait, what's wrong with that? Is it the S?
Yes. Native speakers drop the S completely and say, thank God. If you keep the S, you have to add to, as in, thanks to God, but that sounds way more formal. For everyday relief, just stick to thank God.
Good to know. Such a tiny detail, but it makes a massive difference in how natural you sound.
It really does. And that's the biggest takeaway here. Sounding fluent isn't about using impressive, complex language. It's about sounding relaxed, natural, and easy to understand.
That actually makes fluency feel so much more achievable.
It absolutely is, especially when you focus on these everyday patterns. So, we want to know from you watching. Which of these awkward phrases surprised you the most today?
Drop it in the comments below. And don't worry if you've been saying them for years. Awareness is the first step.
Exactly. And to help you build even more confidence, in our next lesson, we're going to show you how to ask anything in English naturally.
Oh, that is going to be incredibly helpful for real-world conversations.
You'll learn the exact simple question patterns native speakers use every day.
I'll definitely see you in the next lesson then.
See you there.
Bye!